Good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? Sweet Paddy from across the shock, and you're very welcome back to the channel. And this is a nice wee video, and it's my first knife. I've always been asked what was your first knife, and I always explained what it was. But it's long since gone, by the way. And I've been putting off buying one because they're not a hard knife to find. But I just thought, do I really want it? And I think the older you get, the more sentimental you got. So I bought one the other month. I bought this off Slippy, I believe it was, for a reasonable price. Well, not as if they were dear to buy, but I don't know, I just never got round to it. But it was my first proper knife, and I got it when I was about 12 or 13. I'd had wee belt knife, cheap belt knives and little pocket knives like this all the time from a youngster, probably from about 8. But this was the first proper man's knife that I got. And it was a friend of mine. His brother was in the Royal Navy at the time. Young fella he was, when I look back now, he was young, he was in the Royal Navy. But he brought us both back one each when he came on leave. And we were we thought we were the biggest boys in the street. We were just over the moon with it. And this knife was battered and used, and probably in worse condition than this one is when I finally finished with it. Actually took it to work with me when I was 15. I used it as my work knife, but I carried it in my pocket every day I could. I had this in my pocket, and we used it in the forest, making forts, tree huts, all that sort of thing. It was just the most used, sharpened on a curb or the back step of your house, just the way you did in the old days. That's not the old days, but I'm not that old. I'm still a spring chicken, but this was it, and I just wanted to show it to you in conjunction with, this is my collection of naval knives, one of them being a bayonet as well. And I just thought I'd go through them, but I'll show you this one first. This weighs half a pound. And as a small 12 or 13-year-old, I don't ever remember it being a ton weight, but it must have weighed in my pocket. It must have nearly pulled my trousers off me. It was just a fantastic lump of knife. And really, if you're going to give a child a knife, this is the knife to give them, because it's nearly unbreakable, almost unbreakable. Just a great big lump of a knife with a great big sheep's foot blade. Look at that. It's nearly a ram's foot, but it's a sheep's foot. Super. I haven't resharpened it yet. Don't know what's holding me back, but I just haven't. Because I feel as if I've sharpened it, I might want to carry the bloody thing. It's such a lovely even grip. It's just, you have a marlin spike on one side and you have a big blade on the other. This was used for poking holes in everything, making go-karts, anything where you had to get through wood to put a bit of string through. We didn't have a drill when we were out, so we used things like this. I just love it. And that blade, mine was much higher up the blade by the time I'd finished with it, because it literally was starting on stone. It was just a super, super knife. I loved it. This one has nearly got a full blade on it. It's been well used, the knife, but they were just sturdy. Stainless steel blades, these were. I think I'm right in saying they were stainless steel. But no, they were stainless steel. But it's just a lovely big lump of a knife. And this was made by a Sheffield maker, Ventura, Slater, M. Slater, I think it is, yeah. And just I can't tell you, this was my big boy knife. This is when I arrived in the world as a big boy at 12-year-old or 13. But I just loved it. And I carried this till I was about 17-year-old as my EDC, if you want to call it. But I carried it almost every day. And I loved this knife. You've also got a big screwdriver. It's a flathead screwdriver on the top of it, with a stupid bail in the way when you were turning it. It was just a pain in the bum. Back in them days, we didn't have posi drive. It was all flathead, so this was a very useful tool. As a sort of small pry bar, anything it was used. But that's my first. I can actually answer that question now for the first time on YouTube, which is nice. So, and I want to bring you up to the modern version of this. This was half a pound, 8 ounces, 8.3 ounces this was. And this is the modern version, a much lighter. This is an aluminium cover, much lighter version, smaller obviously. You still got the bail, but they changed the bail around in this and they put the screwdriver up at the end where you didn't have to worry about the bail flopping over it. So it was much more usable as a screwdriver. And this one had two blades. You had the main sheep's foot, and this one was made by Joseph Rogers and still is to this day. This one was made in 2022, and you can see the arrows for it was for service. This is for the servicemen. Great big sheep's foot. Now this one is sharp. This one I got brand new. My little grandson who's in the Navy got this for me, and they still, and this is bought today. They have the old-fashioned can opener still because it was just good. It really was a great prying tool and everything, and the bottle opener. Again, just bringing this knife up into the sort of, can you call it, listen to that snap. I just love that. And this marlin spike, again, oh, God, you have to really give this a, there you go. That marlin spike is just, and they're solid, it's just a proper big, this is used by the sailors on board the ship. And sailors are the ones who look after the upper deck and that. They'll use these for everything. Absolutely everything. Super knife. Love this. And this is what started me trying to get more knives. This is another one, a modern one, but this was in service when I was in. I joined up in 77 and left in 89. So in my 12 years, these two were the knives that you would have got being a sailor and working on the upper deck. And this one is just a scraping. This was used as a scraping tool. It was used for everything. Quite thin, so it was used for cutting rope. It was used for anything. The sailors used it, and these normally lasted about 6 months if you're lucky. Then they were fired overboard, and then they got another one. It's a lovely grind on it. And this one's Joseph Rogers, Sheffield, England, on there. Still made today, and this is the knife that they issue. It hasn't got this fancy sheath. I like this so much. I mean, this is a great camp knife. You know, for cooking, for doing anything, for splicing rope, doing whatever you want to do. I put this in a beautiful sheath. Absolutely love it in that sheath. And then also, while I was in the Navy, the rifle of choice when I was in was the SLR. And this is the bayonet, and this has been refurbished and done really, really well. They haven't added or taken anything to it, just cleaned up the blade. It's got a nice, well, it's not a nice edge, it has an edge on it, but it's just memories. These are things, as you get older, I think the memories, you just want the memories more and more of my time in the, some snap in that. That was not coming out by mistake, that's for sure. So yeah, I mean, that was the bayonet that would have had on the SLRs that I had, that I shot. And then here's one that I picked up when I started getting into slip joints. I found this on eBay, and there's thousands of them. This was brought out for the Queen's Silver Jubilee. There we go. 1952 to 1977, which was the year I joined up, and I watched the flotilla going through into Portsmouth, sitting on South Sea Beach with a big bottle of cider with my mates, and we all got hammered. I was in the Navy then, so I thought, this is just, I have to have this. I think this is Richardson. Yeah, it's Richardson. But this was the sort of knife I would have had as a wee boy. You used to buy them for, a couple of pence. They weren't much money, but they done me for everything until this big bugger came along. But yeah, it was just, I thought I would have that. It was the year I joined up, Queen's Silver Anniversary, and happy to serve. And then this one is another old one I got off eBay. You can see the two arrows there. This was given to officers, I believe. That's the story I've got so far, in carbon steel. I mean, I think this was probably around the Second World War, given out to officers. That's the story that I've had so far. I'm quite happy to believe it. Still got lots of spring in it. Lovely back spring in it. Just a little pocket knife for your average officer. So yeah, a lovely knife. And my little collection is growing, and I'm quite happy it's growing, but I'm more than happy to have my first knife. And this is my collection of my my affiliation with the Royal Navy, my service, and some of the little knives I've picked up along the way. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a really wonderful rest of your day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye now.